If you were born between 1946 and 1964, your brain was shaped by something that doesn't exist anymore. A collision of post-war optimism, technological revolution, and social upheaval that rewired an entire generation. And here's what's fascinating. Most baby boomers look at today's world and feel completely out of sync. Not because they're outdated, but because they carry psychological wiring that modern culture actively punishes. They experienced something irreplaceable, a time when loyalty meant something, when hard work actually led somewhere, when shaking someone's hand sealed a deal. To put it perfectly, we built careers with grit, raised families without instruction manuals, and didn't need a screen to tell us we mattered. So what made baby boomers psychologically different? And more importantly, what does neuroscience reveal about why you think, work, and relate the way you do? The first trait is what researchers call deferred gratification mastery, and it started with one unavoidable reality. You had to wait for everything. You wanted to hear your favorite song. You waited by the radio for hours hoping it would play. You wanted to talk to someone. You memorized their number and hoped they were home. You wanted a new product. You saved for months, maybe years. Studies on delayed gratification show that people who grew up waiting for things develop significantly stronger impulse control and long-term planning abilities. Your entire childhood was training in patience that the instant gratification economy has demolished. You learned to dream in timelines measured by seasons and years, not seconds and swipes. This is why you can commit to 30-year mortgages and long-term investments while younger generations panic at the thought of a 5-year plan. But that patience came with something deeper, something that explains your famous work ethic. You carry what psychologists call earned security orientation. You grew up watching your parents who survived the Depression and World War II build everything from nothing. They didn't have safety nets, they had survival, and they taught you one ironclad principle: nobody owes you anything. Security comes from what you build, not what you're given. Research in developmental psychology shows that children who witnessed scarcity in their families developed a profound drive to create stability. You watched your parents sacrifice. You saw them stay at jobs they hated because loyalty and stability mattered more than fulfillment. This imprinted a belief system. Work isn't supposed to make you happy. Work is supposed to make you secure. This is why you can show up to the same job for 40 years while everyone else is job hopping every 2 years looking for purpose. You found something deeper than purpose. You found discipline. Now here's where it gets controversial. You possess what researchers call hierarchical respect coding. You grew up in a world with clear authority structures. Parents weren't your friends. Teachers had unquestioned power. Bosses gave orders and you followed them. You didn't talk back, you didn't question, you respected the chain of command because that's how society functioned. Studies on generational authority perception show that baby boomers have significantly higher deference to institutional authority than any generation after them. You were raised to trust the system. The government, the corporation, the institution, they would take care of you if you played by the rules. This is why you struggle with today's questioning culture. When younger generations challenge everything, it doesn't feel like critical thinking to you. It feels like chaos, like disrespect, like the unraveling of the social contract that kept civilization running. But here's what most people miss. This respect for hierarchy gave you something powerful: the ability to function in structured environments without constant validation. You don't need to understand why, you just need to know what needs to be done. The fourth trait is something psychologists call analog relationship depth, and it shaped your connections in ways digital natives will never experience. You built friendships through physical presence. You showed up to someone's house unannounced. You talked on landlines for hours with the cord stretched across the room. You wrote letters and waited weeks for responses. You made plans without GPS, without confirmation texts, without the ability to cancel last minute. Research on pre-digital social bonding found that people who formed relationships without technology show significantly deeper trust and commitment in long-term relationships. Your friendships weren't maintained by likes and comments. They were maintained by effort. Real, inconvenient, show-up-in-person effort. This is why you can't understand how someone with 1,000 online friends can feel completely alone. And here's the trait that might be your greatest strength and your biggest frustration. You have what I call self-reliance wiring. When something broke, you fixed it. You didn't Google a tutorial, you didn't call customer service, you got your hands dirty and figured it out. Your car needed repair, you learned. Your house needed renovation, you learned. Your finances needed managing, you learned. Nobody was going to do it for you. Research on problem-solving autonomy shows that people who grew up without instant access to information developed significantly stronger independent reasoning and resourcefulness. You had encyclopedias, libraries, and your own brain. That was it. You had to think critically because there was no algorithm to think for you. This is why you can walk into a crisis and just start problem solving while everyone else is frantically searching for the right life hack or expert opinion. But here's the psychological burden nobody talks about. You carry what researchers call loyalty trauma. You were taught that loyalty would be rewarded. Stay with the company and they'll take care of you. Stay in the marriage and it will work out. Stay committed and the system will honor that commitment. Then the rules changed. Companies you gave decades to eliminated pensions. Industries you built careers in disappeared overnight. The social contract you believed in was broken. And unlike younger generations, who expect betrayal and plan accordingly, you felt it as a profound psychological wound. Studies on generational trust patterns show that baby boomers experience significantly higher rates of disillusionment when institutions fail them. Because you didn't just lose a job, you lost faith in a system you were raised to believe in. Every time someone calls you out of touch or unwilling to adapt, remember this. You're not resisting change because you're stubborn. You're resisting the erasure of values that actually built something. The work ethic that looks like workaholism, that's integrity. The respect for authority that looks like blind obedience, that's social order. The loyalty that looks like naivety, that's honor. You survived an economic boom that promised security and then pulled the rug out, and it didn't break you. It made you resilient. Most baby boomers will say, we didn't have it easy, we just didn't have the option to quit. And they're right. For a brief moment in history, an entire generation believed that hard work, loyalty, and playing by the rules would lead to the American dream. You gotta live in that reality before it became a myth. Drop a comment if you're a baby boomer who thinks your generation got it right. And if you love research-based content like this that validates who you really are, hit subscribe because we're just getting started.